Good day, everyone. Happy Saturday. Happy 1st of March. Spring is coming. You are tuned in to the Peak Wellness Hour, and we're so excited to be here with you. I know I'm super excited. If we were in school and we were taking attendance, I have some absences on my card. This starting out this year, but I am so sorry. Queen Edith, the CEO and founder of Peak Homecare Associates, always holds it down. So grateful for that. I'm grateful to be here with you all. And we are so grateful to be able to share information and knowledge with you every week on Facebook, on YouTube. If you look in the description, you can find the information. I know most people are watching on Facebook. We want to give you an opportunity to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to give you an opportunity to hit that like button and share and all that good jazz, because we're going to have healthy conversations, educational conversations, and in no way are we coming and representing as your healthcare providers or giving medical advice, but we do want to share knowledge that can help you live your best life as individuals, as caregivers, as patients, as clients, as residents. Okay, so we are definitely here for you, and we're super excited to have this conversation today regarding Parkinson's disease. I know last month, we focused on the heart and all kinds of things with that. So we're going to start this month out talking about Parkinson's, and we're going to proceed strong throughout the month, throughout the year, sharing things with you all to, again, help you live your best lives, your healthiest lives. So I'm going to stop talking and let this queen, our CEO and founder, speak. Queen.
Well, I missed you. I've missed you the past couple of weeks. I've tried to do it, but it's never like you're here. And so I'm excited to have you on, Queen. I'm excited to have you back, to see your face, hear your voice, and of course, get your perspective on the topic. Hello, friends and family. It's March, right? It's March. Are we changing the time again?
Is it in March?
Yeah, it's in March.
Is it March or April?
It's in March.
My body just got used to the cycle. I can't.
It's in March. So very soon, we got to change time. Daylight Savings 2024, March 10th. Next week, Sunday, March 10th. Next week, Sunday, we'll be changing time. Hey, it's been quite a winter. I don't know whether it's called a mild or but it's been interesting. But I'm thankful. I'm so thankful for March. I read one post from a friend who says there's only one order in March. Keep marching, keep going, keep moving. So let's keep marching. So it's exciting. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a great extra day in the year, February 29th. So welcome once again to the original edition of Peak Wellness Hour. Because, of course, Queen Angelina is here, and today it's all about what?
Parkinson's. Yeah. We always have amazing conversations, right? We tell you all the time before we get on here, we get to talking. That's why we're a couple minutes late today. We were chit-chatting about some things. So we always have amazing conversations here. Unfortunately, we're talking about things pertaining to our health, and they're not always. Those aren't fun conversations. When we talk about decline, when we talk about aging, but we come to you because they're necessary conversations. And you'll be surprised at how many people are dealing with things with their own health, with the health of those that they care for, and they don't have an understanding and a grasp of the process. So as unfun as the topics may be, we certainly try to make it enjoyable to learn and then implement that knowledge right into your own lives. So we're very excited about being able to have the privilege of doing that.
Queen, before you delve in, I want to
Mhm.
you to Queen Betty. Is that her name, Betty? She gave
Yes.
us some raving reviews, and actually, we've posted it on our website. So, thank you so much, sister. Thank you so much, Sister Queen, for the shout outs. We are grateful. I am most thankful for it. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you to everyone that tunes in every week, whether it's on live or it's on replay. We thank you for sharing. I sound like Queen over here with the phone. She's always busy.
Now
Somebody
that
wants
reminds me to
something.
silence.
My apologies. Let me silence that, or at least turn it down. But yeah, we want to thank everyone that tunes in, whether live or on replay. We really do appreciate it. We like talking again, we like talking amongst ourselves, but it's so much fun, more fun when you all are here engaging with us. So please feel free to engage. If you have questions, if you have comments, don't hesitate to put those in the comment section. And of course, in the description, you can find our website for Peak Homecare Associates. You can always contact us over there. And see what we have going on. We have people working behind the scenes on the website. I want to give a shout out to everyone that's associated with Peak Homecare Associates. As far as team members, it is not just the two of us that is Peak Homecare Associates. We have a whole team that's dedicated to giving awesome patient care, that's dedicated to communicating effectively and making changes in the lives of those that we touch, like our model says. So shout out to everyone that is a part of Peak Homecare Associates. We certainly do appreciate you. And you are not unnoticed. So thank you. We're very grateful. So thank you to all our team members. Queen.
Once you said, I might as well add our team members, Sam and I think Lori went on somewhere, all of them, and gave us reviews. Gave us reviews. They work with us. It's important when your employees, people who work with you, your team members give you reviews, give the agency reviews. That itself is a testament. So I'm so thankful to the team that I have. I love my team.
Yes.
I love it. I'm sorry, but not everybody can say that. I love the people I work with. I love it. And so I'm thankful for all of you. Thank you so much.
And speaking of reviews, Queen, if you enjoyed this content, this is part of Peak Home. This is part of what we do. We do home care, right? But this is part of what we do. So if you enjoy this content, feel free to also go and put some reviews online if you'd like. We appreciate it. And that we're asking for that. We're asking for the likes. We're asking for the shares, again, so that we can share this information, right? It doesn't help us if we keep it all to ourselves, right? It doesn't help you if you keep it to yourself. So we want to encourage people to get involved with their health and be able to network and communicate and have those resources to do so. So that's why we do ask you to like and share. That's why we do ask you to share your thoughts in the reviews, even if it's less than favorable. We like to know where we can improve. I don't see why there be anything less than favorable. But if there is on act, no, we want to know. We want to hear back from you. So feel free to engage. Go ahead, Queen. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. Now, who are we? Who are we as Peak Home Care? We are a non-medical home care agency. We are a non-medical home care agency in the state of Indiana. Our offices are located in Noblesville in Hamilton County, but we serve the general Indianapolis area. We can be reached all the time, 24/7. Our phones, our own email is on. Feel free to reach us by phone or electronically by email, And then, of course, our offices are open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, I think. I'm joking. I know the hours. But yeah, our offices are open working hours 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So feel free to reach us. We'd love to earn your business. We definitely would love to earn your business, but we also love to earn a relationship with you. So whatever you choose to do, call us and let's see how best we can collaborate for your senior loved one. It's exciting. Parkinson's. And I'm going to ask the nurse, what is Parkinson's?
Okay. So Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disorder that is located in the brain, right? So it's dealing with your central nervous system, right? With your motor, right? Your speech, your sense of, your senses or whatnot. So that's where Parkinson's is, the disorder takes place. And of course, like I did last time I was on, I'm going to share with you all a quick video to help better explain. That's why I said these things, if we take time to do the research, I'm going to share with you shortly a video on YouTube. But having these conversations and feeling like we're connected is important. Okay.
Right.
And sometimes we can't get those things when we're talking to our physicians. Right. We have situations where we go to the doctors and they prescribe medications, they give diagnoses, but there's no substance to who we are. It's this disease, it's not who we are. Right. So with Parkinson's, with the central nervous system, it's being disrupted. And I'll let the video share that a little more, how that works in more detail. Okay. But in the end of it, you're going to see symptoms like tremors, right? When you see the hand shaking, a lot of times you'll see it start in one side of the body, and it takes over one side, and then it'll take over that other side of the body with the tremors or whatnot. You see situations where people are more rigid or more stiff with their walking, and they start to shuffle their feet instead of being able to pick up their feet because of the motor neurons being disrupted. So when we're looking at this and we're looking at whether it's you as an individual dealing with this or you are dealing with it as a caregiver with the patient or client, resident, whatnot, loved one that has Parkinson's, it's important to pay attention to this because other things go into it. So if you have the rigidity, okay, and you're stiff, well, what happens if you have rheumatoid arthritis or any kind of arthritis? So now on top of having arthritis, now you have this Parkinson's that's got you rigid. Okay, let's think about the pain levels there. When you're shuffling your feet, how safe is it for you to be at home walking alone? Right. That's where, with Peak Homecare Associates, that's where we specialize in. When we come in and we see things like area rugs or whatnot that are frayed or kind of rolled up, things like that. With someone with Parkinson's, that's a danger. That's a very, very dangerous situation where you cannot pick up your feet. Making sure you have safe spaces to walk because of that rigidity is important. So, yeah, it's a serious situation. You'll see some drooling, you see, because it's loss of motor skills, loss of smell, unable to pick up things like you should be able to. So what happens if you have someone living at home, especially a senior citizen living at home with Parkinson's, and now they're trying to cook? Can you pick up that pot safely? Can you pull something out of the oven safely without the tremors? Now you have risk of burns, you have risk of fires, fire hazards, if there's a risk for fire, do you have an escape plan? Is this loved one able to get out in a situation like that? A whole lot of things to think about when it comes to Parkinson's and seniors living at home alone. And again, the importance of having support, whether it's family, whether it's paid caregivers, home care, whatnot. Those conversations are important when we're looking at Parkinson's, especially as it progresses.
Thank you, Queen. What I would love is from what I have seen. So you talked about tremors, shaking, uncontrolled shaking. You can't control it. They happen at any time. And it's progressive. So as the disease gets worse, the shaking, the movements also get worse. you raised a very important, if this person lives alone, even if they live with their spouse or a family member, if the family member doesn't have a deeper understanding or good understanding of the situation, we may overlook certain things. You talked about area rags and, of course, the dragging of the feet and stuff, and area rags in the way, but you never know when the tremor is coming that will cause them to fall. So it causes a lot of fall. Even the shaking itself could cause them to fall, because depending on which part of the body that is affected, whether their legs or their hands or whatever it is, then they have no control. So when they're standing, even with a walker, it's possible that if they're not able, because it affects the brain, the central nervous system of the brain, they are not sharp also. They are not sharp in their movements, in their motoring skills. So it might take a minute for them to think to hold on tightly to the walker, and it can easily throw them off. So someone who has Parkinson's needs someone who is trained, who has been taught how to handle them. They're shaking, they're probably in bed all the time, movement and the pain associated with it. If you don't know how to handle the situation, you will continue to hurt them more. So it's so important that we know what this is, we know what it's about. It may start with just your hand, but the next thing, or even just, I know someone who just has this hand, just this part shaking, but you never know, and they can't control it. Their lips shaking, their eyes shaking, like these twitches and movements, and it may not be bad from the beginning, but it's important to know that such a person cannot be on their own, because you don't know when the next big tremor, the next big shaking is going to happen, what it's going to affect. There are showers. In the showers, they can't be alone. They can easily fall in the shower. They can easily lose. It can be like a stroke where you almost lose your senses in one area. So there's a weakness. There can be a weakness in the area where that is affected mostly. I don't know, Queen, what do you think of what I said?
I agree with that. I certainly agree. I think that I've noticed, it seems that individuals I've taken care of with Parkinson's is something almost like dementia, where it's not, I don't know, maybe it's just health period, where you don't want to talk about those kind of things. So I notice a lot of times you'll have patients and they'll try to, control those tremors, and they try to mask those situations. So a lot of times and it's not, with Parkinson's, it's not, you can see dementia and Parkinson's related a lot of times because of the breakdown, but Parkinson's is not necessarily related to, you're not going to always see the symptoms of dementia, right? So if someone is dealing with Parkinson's, they're not demented where they don't remember that they're trying to mask something. Like where someone with dementia, as they progress, they're trying to mask it, but over time, you can't. So I think having that conversation and being mindful, like to what you said, being mindful and paying attention, even if you're in the home with that individual, pay attention to those kind of things. When you see, especially doing everyday skills, picking up a fork and eating, brushing the teeth, you have to pay attention to those things. And it can be kind of tricky when, like I said, there are other symptoms and other disease processes that are going on with those things. Sometimes you're taking medication, if you're taking medication for behavioral issues, right? Like Depakote, antipsychotic medications that control behavior. A lot of times you'll see tremors with that. You'll see rigidity with that. So is it side effect from the medication? Is it Parkinson's? So just being mindful and having those conversations is super important.
I wrote some symptoms down. It says, we talked about tremors. It says slowed movement, which is known as bradykinesia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it slows your movement, making simple tasks very difficult and time consuming. Of course, it says your steps will become shorter or may become shorter when you walk. It may be even difficult for you to get out of a chair, and you may drag or shuffle your feet, which you're talking about, as you try to walk. Rigidity, rigid muscles, you already talked about it. Your muscles begin to get stiff, and it may occur in any part of your body. And the stiff muscles can be painful and
Mm-hmm.
obviously limit your range of motion. It says impaired posture and balance. Your posture may become stooped, or you may fall or have balance problems as a result of the disease, and loss of automatic movement. See how I'm moving my hand so freely? They may lose that automatic movement in their bodies, including blinking and smiling, even the swinging of the arms when you walk. Can you imagine that? So, and of course, it talks about the changes in your speech, slurring, speak softly or quickly or hesitate before talking because you're losing something, and you can't control. Your speech may become more of a monotone rather than have the usual speech patterns. And your handwriting too, you can't write, or when you write, your writing, your handwriting, how do you call it, your cursory writes or whatever, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes affected as well. So those are some of the symptoms. But at what age does the person get Parkinson?
It's usually an onset, typically, between 45 and 55, it says, but it's been said it's rare that you can have onset, childhood onset, and then along with early age onset, being in your 20s or whatnot. But I have a question. I want to back something up. So what you were just reading,
Mm-hmm.
I want to break it down for everybody so you can understand what's happening. So the first part was, what did you read the first part?
The first one was tremor, and then slowed movement,
Right
known
there.
as
Okay, so a slow movement, that's okay. So that's coming from your brain, like the firing those neurons for information. That information is not firing to the rest of your body, telling your body what you are supposed to be doing. So with the slow motions, it's because you're sitting there, you've got to go to the bathroom. In your head, that I'm on the sofa, but I need to get to the bathroom. But now you got to wait for
brain.
the fire, the fire and synapses in your brain to tell your legs to stand, to tell your arms to push up. There's a delay in all that. So for everyone that is not familiar with what's going on with the healthcare side of things, or the body side of things, anatomy, that's what's happening there. And over time, depression is a big part of that. That's something that wasn't mentioned, depression, and loss of hope or lack of hope. So now what do? You don't want to be embarrassed because of your tremors. You don't want to, people looking at you. So if you don't have to get up, you don't get up. If you don't have to move, you don't move. So now you're stiff. But stiffness is coming. A lot of it comes by choice of lack of movement, displacency. And that's why with older adults, it's more difficult because, our joints and our bones, everything is just kind of a little more seasoned, right? So when you're looking, that's what's going on with those things. The speech is the delay in responding. And I think a lot of times they, what you're trying to say, but it's that response time in the brain to get it out, so, and I think a lot of times there's frustration, that patient feels that frustration, that individual dealing with that feels that frustration, especially when the caregiver seems frustrated too. I'm trying to get my words out, Queenie is trying to get her words out, no, all she's trying to say was, give me just a minute, I'll be right back. And well, what are you trying to say? Are you trying? What do you need me to do? You need me to say something? You need me to do something? Now I'm not giving her time to respond. Now I'm trying to answer for it. A lot of times when we answer for people, that's frustrating too. We don't give, because it shows a lack of patience. When someone's dealing with an illness like that. So we have to be mindful of those kind of things. So yeah, I just want to kind of break that down, break that part that she said when it comes to how that's looking with the tremors and everything, and the lack of movement. But that's where it's coming from, the brain having a delay in response. So, but to
you
answer your
bring
question, 45 to 55 to answer your question. Go
no,
ahead.
you bring something up. You bring something up that's important. Now you're going into, even with the little descriptions we've had, right? How does a caregiver live with such a person? And you make a point. You've got to be patient because their mind is moving as it's not moving as it should. It's not working because of the communication, the lack of communication between the brain and other parts of the body. There is a slowness. And so if you ask a question or the person is trying to say something, like I say to Queen, do you remember when we went to and then she says, oh, you mean we went to CVS yesterday? No. And then I'm thinking, and then you frustrate me because you want me to come up with whatever it is I'm saying quickly, because of course you probably have other things to do, and so you have no patience for me. So one of the things we need in caregiving, and no matter what the client or the senior is dealing with, is a lot of patience, right? We need patience. We also probably need to know what they're dealing with. If we don't have not had much training in the area today, it's easy to get the information. Go on YouTube, Google the sickness, learn how it works so you can better relate to your senior in a way that is uplifting, in a way that is encouraging, in a way that is not negatively contributing to what they are already suffering. You mentioned depression. You mentioned that depression is part of it. Let's not make them more depressed. In other words, because we don't allow them to speak as they want to, what happens is that then we shut them down. And they keep everything inside.
And
And
it
that
causes more depression. It does. It really does. And we don't think about the rate of thoughts of suicide in seniors. Now, because you don't hear of seniors doing such a thing, doesn't mean, first of all, that it doesn't happen. But the thought alone is a great depression, so we had to think about those things. And when we're pushing people and we do not have compassion and patience, especially with someone that can't even walk that act out. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm depressed, I don't want to live, what's life worth? So it doesn't start out as suicidal thoughts. What's life worth? And it's my then and my now, and reflecting, and now I can't even do anything about it. More depression, more, so it's a dangerous cycle when we're not involved in compassionate care in those situations.
And when the person has a spouse, 45 is pretty young, even 60 is pretty young. Most people in that age category are very sexually active. And you may be married to, especially if it's the man who is having it. How does that impact sexual intimacy in your relationship? You have to deal with it as a wife. What do you do? And generally speaking, most men marry younger women. So imagine having this thing. We know someone who has this disease, Jamie Foxx. Whilst I was researching, I went to there's a website for
Michael
him.
J. Fox. Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox, yes, Jamie. Yeah, yes. He has Parkinson. Did you know that?
Yes. He's had it for years. So he got it young. He got it real young.
So he has a website, and I think we need to post it. He has a website talking about marriage and Parkinson's.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with the sexual aspect? You could still have intimacy, but is the climax, which is sex, that can be an issue. I didn't get to read the whole thing, but he raises some interesting things, and that's a resource we put on there for
Mm-hmm.
you to read, because this is a practical thing. How old is he? Maybe 60 now.
Is he 60 now? Let me see. He's 62.
And how long has he had this thing?
Since 91 when he was 29 years old.
Holy
29
moly.
years old.
Can we talk a little about that?
Let's. I mean, he's been married to the same woman since before then, too, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to them. Yeah. What would you like to say about that one?
29 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty young.
It
That's
is.
pretty young. I read that Parkinson's is both environmental and has some genetic component to it, so it could be inherited.
I think I was listening to that too earlier, and I think with the genetics, I don't know. You tell me what you think, and this is not this is just my thought process. I think that a lot of times when we look at things, and I don't want to get off track, but when we look at how our DNA makeup is and things that have altered our DNA and our genetic makeup over time, over decades and centuries and generations, even like the foods that we eat has changed our DNA as human beings. So I wonder if with the nature versus nurture, if we start eating right, if we start thinking right, especially when we're a child and we're carrying, how does that impact the impression that we leave, our DNA impression that we leave on our children? I think a lot of times more things are more environmental than anything. We can have the discussion about, addiction or diabetes, heart disease being genetic in some form. But in all actuality, the things that we do once we have choices really impact more so our makeup. I don't know. That's just how I think. I don't know.
It's interesting you're raising this topic of genetics and nature versus nurture, and how we are impacted, especially when it comes to the issues of trauma. Someone, your great may have suffered trauma, and you will realize that at some age you're dealing with some form of trauma, anxiety, and there's nothing in your immediate life that shows that you should go through what you're going through, but there's this genetic thing that's in there. And so Christians say that what's the name, ancestral curses. Sometimes our choices affect generations way after us. Our choices, and of course the things we suffer. So if you went through a terrible marriage, abusive marriage, and it hurts you so bad that it's kind of hard, it gets its footprint right in your DNA, and you can easily pass those things on. We have no idea the things we pass on. This is interesting because this is something we were discussing earlier this week, and I did enjoy that class. But it's so important, the choices we make. So, Queen, when we start making the right choices today, slowly but surely, and our children continue making the right choices, ultimately, it can negate some of the negatives from the past, for something positive for tomorrow.
Right.
If COVID taught us anything, it taught us that we are very networked, contact tracing. Can you imagine? You realize you're COVID, and you have to sit down and remember, oh, I was at Angelina's house, I was at Edith's office, I was at And you have to remember all the people you went to that store to buy, all the people that can we imagine that with our lives and with the lives of our children, where our parents went, where our great parents went, who they slept with, what they ate, the things that hurt them, that are hurting us. So you are right. We can start making the changes now. We may not see the results as we want to now, but we will be passing on ancestral blessing. So it works both spiritual and the physical, nature, nurture. So you are so on point. So yes, it can come from the genes, but the question is, how does one contract Parkinson's? That's all this should come to that question, right? Yes. How does one contract Parkinson's? We say there are biological ways, and they may be from the genetics, but do we know the cause of Parkinson's?
They don't. They try to pinpoint it, but they don't. I hear an echo. I'm sorry. I'm gonna show you this video really quickly, if that's okay. And because it's about 4 minutes long. I don't think they know, because a lot of times when you're dealing with the brain, you have to, even like again with dementia, you can't actually diagnose Alzheimer's until someone has passed on and you research their brain, So until then, that's why, the dementia, it's an umbrella kind of thing. You really can't pinpoint it. You're just kind of guesstimating with it, and you're watching for signs and symptoms of things. That's why I think it's important to know your body, and have a voice about your body, even when you are at with the physician or a caregiver. Know your body, because things get misdiagnosed all the time, because our bodies are so complex. And when we see how things are made up, it's so amazing how the body works. It is so amazing. And if we just treated this vessel right, okay, we would be so much better off. So much better off. So I'm going to show you all this video, and hopefully it'll kind of explain some things. And I don't think it's too over your head kind of thing. I like to keep things basic, doesn't it make more sense just to keep it basic sometimes? Okay. So we'll look at this really quickly. Let's see. Okay, and this is understanding Parkinson's disease. So it's about 4 minutes. So watch this really quickly. Before we do, we do want to make clear that this is not our, let me say this really quickly. This is not our material. We do honor the Fair Use Act, where we can use information for educational purposes or whatnot. So we do want to give credit really quickly to, who is this? Nature Video. So go over there and subscribe to Nature Video. Thank you for allowing us to utilize this quick video to educate others and share the information that you've had for us. So thank you. Let's finish watching. Don't strike our page, please.
Parkinson's is the second most common neurodegenerative disease after Alzheimer's. The most visible features of this disease are a slowness of movement, muscle rigidity, and tremors at rest. There are also many, often debilitating non-motor symptoms, some of which may present before the motor problems. Parkinson's affects many areas of the nervous system and different types of neurons. The motor problems, often debilitating non-motor symptoms, some of which may present.
Okay, so I just want to show you all really quickly on here how Parkinson's, I just want you to see it for yourself, how Parkinson's can affect other parts of your body. So we talked about the depression, anxiety, cognitive defects, that's your memory, being able to recall things, sleep disturbances, because the chemicals in your brain are off. Loss of smell, you see here, along with other senses, right? But loss of smell, you've got bladder dysfunction. A lot of times because your brain is not being able to send that trigger for you to get up and do what you need to do. You have the gastral dysfunction, so you have the incontinence. Okay. A lot of times because you can't move that fast on top of your brain sending those responses. And then your cardiovascular, which is your heart and your lungs. Okay. If you're not remembering to breathe, you're not remembering, whole lot of issues. So I just wanted to point that out really quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before the motor problems. Parkinson's affects many areas of the nervous system and different types of neurons. However, much focus has been placed on neurons in brain regions associated with the overt motor symptoms, notably a region of the midbrain called the substantia nigra pars compacta. This region forms part of a major pathway in the brain that's critical for facilitating movement. In Parkinson's, dopaminergic neurons in the substantia nigra gradually die, leading to the malfunction of this pathway and the characteristic motor problems. Drugs that replace or mimic dopamine are often used to treat these motor deficits, but they grow less effective over time.
So they're talking about medications like the carbidopa, levodopa, the dopamine drugs. And do you all see how small that little piece of the brain is? That's affecting everything in your body. That little piece is affecting your motor skills, the way you think, everything. Amazing body. We had to take care of it. Let's keep going.
Deep brain stimulation may also be used to treat symptoms. However, no current treatment slows the neurodegeneration. A distinctive pathology in most cases of Parkinson's is clumps of misfolded proteins within neurons. Lewy bodies are the most common type. A characteristic component of these is a misfolded protein called alpha-synuclein. These molecules can form small repeated units called oligomers, or longer fibrils.
Okay, so Queen, to answer your question, you saw how those proteins were, able to be shaped freely, and now they're curved. So once that starts developing in the brain, is what's going on. Now, how that begins and what's causing that, we can talk about that in a minute in my perspective. But to answer the question for everyone listening that Queen Edith asked, how does it begin? It's that dysfunctional shape of those proteins that are building up other proteins. So we'll keep watching.
So is it when you eat too much protein, or how do you get this excess proteins malfunctioning in your brain like that? Anyway, I'll let us go.
I'm not sure. And I watched this. I didn't feel like it was a definite answer. That's why I said I wanted to watch this for everyone, because it doesn't seem like they have a definite answer. So let's see what they say.
Okay.
Mounting evidence indicates that these are toxic to neurons and play a key role in driving Parkinson's.
Okay, so the neurons are the things that send messages. Okay, right. So the proteins are damaging those message senders.
Unwanted proteins are normally cleared by the cell's different types of protein-degrading machinery. Some evidence points to these systems being overwhelmed by misfolded alpha-synuclein, and this might be a key factor in what kills the neurons. Parkinson's has also been linked to problems with mitochondria. Mitochondria provide cells with the energy to perform vital functions. They're highly dynamic and can fuse together or break up into smaller versions in response to a cell's energy demands. They can also be transported to areas of a cell that need them the most. However, in Parkinson's, these processes can be impaired, and mitochondria are unable to sustain proper neuronal function. As they become old or damaged, mitochondria are removed and replaced. Again, this recycling is thought to be disrupted in Parkinson's, leading to the accumulation of damaged or worn-out mitochondria. Another idea is that the cells called glia surrounding neurons may play a role in Parkinson's. As dopamine neurons are lost, one particular type of glial cell, called microglia, is thought to take up the resulting cellular debris, triggering an immune response. Once activated, they release inflammatory cytokines, which activate neighboring microglia and another type of glial cell called astrocytes. Chemicals released by activated microglia and astrocytes have been shown to injure neurons. It remains unclear which mechanisms drive the disease process in Parkinson's. What is clear is that with time, more areas of the nervous system develop pathology. And one emerging idea is that this happens through the transmission of misfolded alpha-synuclein. While the multifactorial nature of Parkinson's disease progression might make it hard to fully understand, it does provide a number of potential therapeutic targets for slowing or even halting the neurodegeneration. For example, enhancing the clearance of abnormal proteins and blocking their transmission, improving the function of mitochondria, and targeting the neuroinflammation are all currently active areas of research.
Okay, you see how I didn't feel like I got a whole clear answer to your question with that. It doesn't seem like when it comes to Parkinson's and like with neuro issues, even like autoimmune issues, this doesn't seem like there's enough information in those things. And unfortunately, we find that, there's a whole lot of treatments for diseases and diagnoses that cause other symptoms. So I think that's why I mentioned the nature versus nurture. I think it's super important to eat as healthy as we can. And just sometimes it's just about making more informed, proper choices. Let me give you an example. There are some foods that we have in the United States that are banned in other countries, like Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate has ingredients that are cancer-causing agents. If I'm telling you that right now and you continue to use Coffee Mate, see what I'm saying? And it's difficult to get out of our
We focused on the instant pleasure, right? Yeah. And not thinking of the consequences. Yeah. Right? So, and I remember my mother, I said, Mom, I need you to go get your physical. She says, I'm not going. I said, I want you to go get your breast check. She says, I'm not going. I said, Mom, why? So when I get to know, it's going to kill me. Mm-hmm. And so she won't go get it. But what if there was something there? If the earlier they discover it, the earlier they'll do something about it. So what if we just stopped and treat this body with some level of respect? Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is so right. We are so pleasure focused. Mm-hmm. We so pleasure focused with our choices.
Yeah. I think with the eating, I think one key thing when I was watching this video earlier, one key thing that came to mind was dairy products. Dairy products are key for mucus accumulation, mucus buildup in your body. And if you are ill, especially like with respiratory issues, that is the worst thing to put in your body is dairy products because it builds mucus. So and you think about it with your brain, if there's mucus in your cells, like we just saw, this is what's happening. I'm sorry, I don't drink, I miss cold cereal. I use dry milk to cook. I don't eat cereal anymore though, because I don't like the way it tastes in cereal, but it was something I had to compromise with. I love cottage cheese. So I do it in moderation, just like I said with the Coffee Mate. I'm telling you all something, but I still do cottage cheese in moderation, So is it a wise choice? So we're all we are all guilty of those simple pleasures, but we do, like Queen Edith said, we do have to think long term. And it's no fun when you don't have options anymore. It's no fun where now you have this situation, and well, it's what it is now. So I'll just keep doing this now because it doesn't make a difference. We have to change the way we think about our bodies and how important we are. You only get one body. You lose a limb, you get a what's it called? A limb replacement. You know what I'm talking about. It's not the same. It's not the same. You're limited. It's not the same. You only get one body. And I've learned that the hard way this past week and week and a half. We got to be careful. Just little things. We got to be more mindful about how we look at our bodies. And once that damage is done, it's so difficult to reverse it. And like I said in the video, there's no cure for Parkinson's. They have medications that'll slow it down. But once you're adjusted to that medicine, your body's adjusted. Now you need more, so it's now you have other symptoms to treat your symptoms. And I do want to say this really quickly. This is so important to anyone that is a caregiver to someone with Parkinson's. This is super important because I saw this and it broke my heart. When people have to come and beg for medication, that's the only medication working in a facility I've ever seen somebody come down or hit that call button like, I need my Parkinson's medication. If it's due at 3:00, you better get there at 3, because 3:10, 3:15, they're looking like, where are you? It's a panic that they have, not getting that medication on time, because once it's very timed. So when it says every 4 hours, that medication is very timed. And once that 4-hour mark hits, it's not like Tylenol on a headache. It's coming back full force like you didn't take it. So you have to stay on top of those medications when you're a caregiver dealing with that. And now you have these tremors that are really uncontrollable. Now they can't eat their meals. A lot of times it's 6 a.m. A lot of times before breakfast, before lunch, before meals. So now they can't even eat meals. Now they have anxiety because they're waiting for you to bring their medication. That now they're depressed. Now they don't
the stress level this causes.
Yes. So something to definitely think about if you are a caregiver administering Parkinson's meds. They are super important to keep on time with, because then they're playing catch up, trying to get their body back to feeling right 30 minutes, 60 minutes later because you're late. So just keep that in mind. That's something very important to stay on top of when it comes to medication. And I'll land my plane there.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing what we take for granted. I always go back to the things we take for granted. And the preacher in me wants to preach. But for you to be able to get up and go, listen, let's not take life for granted. If you can get up and go out and walk, it's a wealth. It's wealth that someone is begging for. Okay, so go out and take a walk. Go out and enjoy this gift. You are a caregiver. You whether you're a professional or a family caregiver, have that break of respite. Take it and use it and enjoy this gift of life. What are we doing not enjoying this gift of life? Not enjoying these legs to walk, marching, because they're so stiff. They can't move their hands when they walk. So they're going stiff like that. But you can move them.
Yeah.
You never know when. We seriously never know when. Take care of seniors every day and every day. I have to think, which one of these beloved people will I be in my 70s? If I'm privileged to live that long, in my 80s, in my even 60s, and for you 50s. We never know. So we take too much for granted. We stress about things. No, why that they don't deserve it.
Yeah. And you brought up Michael J. Fox, again at 29, he was on top of the world as far as he was concerned with his acting, with his, his talents. You had to assume that he had amazing doctors and healthcare providers that oversaw, before this illness. So my point to that is it can happen to anybody, it can happen to anybody. It can affect anybody. Anything can affect anybody. Don't ever think that you are obsolete from challenges in life, so definitely take care of yourself and respect other people. Respect other people, please. I saw that, Queen.
You see, yes, it's a big deal.
It is.
And I would like to add that to that. Don't only respect, hey, Essie, hey, Queen.
Thank you, Queen.
Don't only respect other people. Let go, right? Let go of the pain. Let go of the hurt. Let go. Let them go. Nobody is worth it.
Yeah.
Nobody is worth the pain, the anger, the frustration, the depression, the unforgiveness. That's hurting you and not them.
Mhm. Yeah. And you wind up sick. I'm telling you right now, you will wind up sick and you'll never ever think it was because of your behavior. Like Queen said earlier, you'll never ever think, if you're not mindful and paying attention, you'll never ever think that what you're going through right now is something that you've done in the past, that you've forgotten, that it's not forgotten though.
The body keeps the score.
Oh, yes. Y'all get that book.
The body keeps the score. It keeps the
Yes.
score. It never forgets. So we are doing some things now, and you are young and healthy and everything. A little turn happens, and all those things that are stored in your system begins to show out. Right? There are some things people in their old age, 70s, are suffering from things they did in their 30s, and they won't even think about it. It doesn't even occur to them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a caregiver, please be patient. Please be gentle.
Yes.
Please be kind to yourself by being kind to the seniors you're with.
Mm-hmm.
And seriously, let them talk, even if it takes them 1 hour. Give them the time to bring it out. Encourage them. You will remember, I'm here, I'll listen. Whenever it comes, it comes. It's not that important. Hey, Queen, I missed you. Yes, we take a lot for granted in life.
Yes.
All of us, including me. Do you know how long I've been saying I'm going to start walking and start? I've been sitting here like since 2 a.m., believe it or not. I got up, cleaned my kitchen, and I want to go walk, and I haven't done it. And that's the thing, if we are not intentional about these choices, the key word is intentionality.
Intentional, yes.
I'll let you talk.
No, please. No, I love it. I love it. Intentional. I was going to say yes, intentional.
Take it to the next level. Take it to the next level. Take it.
All right. Definitely have to be intentional. And like Queen said, I've been needing to get out and exercise. It's been cold. You know, we make excuses about things. We make excuses. I bought a treadmill for my husband for Christmas. And we've made it a point not to make it like a closet coat hanger kind of situation, but it is not being utilized. There's no reason for it. Intention. Get somebody with you to get somebody that has like-minded goals in order to succeed and fulfill your goals, whether it's eating healthier, working out, I don't know, learning how to balance your life, learning how to say yes, learning how to say no, whatever it is. Accountability is always good. Having people in your corner that are there to support you and listen to you and encourage you to see it through is definitely important. That is, of course, what Peak Homecare Associates does. So we definitely want to, yes, someone to motivate you. You know, it's not fun for a lot of us to be alone in this journey called life. And we got to walk it out, right? But we want to do it with the best intentions and with the best goals for outcomes for our goals. You know, we want the best outcomes. Be intentional. So link up with people that care about you. Peak Homecare Associates definitely cares about our seniors all over, but we can only be so many places at one time. So we are here to service Central Indiana, Indianapolis area, Noblesville, all the surrounding area. We are here to do our part and do what we can. We are here every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to extend to those that we cannot reach in person. But you have a voice just like we have a voice, and we want to hear from you. We want to connect with you, and we want to help make a difference in your lives, in the lives of your seniors, the lives of those that are dealing with disabilities, whether you are a senior or someone younger. Peak Homecare Associates is certainly here for you. So we want to ask you again one more time. We want to ask you to hit that like button, please, really quickly before we get out of here. We want you to share with someone, at least one person. If you don't want to share on social media, share with one person that you might think can be blessed by this, whether via email, via text, whatever. If you want to call them and say, hey, you got to go back and listen to this. This is for you. Do that. It's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit your loved ones. It's going to benefit the world. We try to make changes one person at a time, right? And we do it one another. We do it with our circles. We want to make positive changes with you. Once you go to PeakHomecareAssociates.com, subscribe and keep up with what's going on there. A lot of good information, good resources. You can email us at info@PeakHomecareAssociates.com. That phone number is also scrolling at the bottom, 317-863-0832. We want to hear from you. Please leave us some positive information on these social media platforms. Give your insight. And we would like to encourage you, if you enjoyed this conversation and any ones in the future and in the past, we want to ask you to humbly go over and leave us a review. Just sharing with us what you think about what we've shared with you. So unless you have something else, Queen, this was our show, and we hope to do it with you again next Saturday. Anything
That's
you have?
right. Have a happy first week of March.
I know, because next week when we come back, we're going to be counting down to that daylight savings time. So it's on, y'all.
You're going to lose an hour.
Not before you spend time with us, though. Not before you. No, we're gonna spring forward. We're gonna gain an hour, yeah.
No, I guess we're gonna gain an hour. Oh, yeah, you get an hour of extra sleep. Bingo.
Yes. So spend some time with us Saturday before you do
That
that.
doesn't serve me well too
Yeah.
much. But it's all right. It's all right. I'll live.
See, this queen's always busy though. She's round the clock, working hard, blessing other people. So it's always a blessing to spend time with you, Queen. It's always a blessing for us to spend time with all of you. Please join us next Saturday for us to do it again. Hopefully I won't be marked tardy or absent. I'll be here. We'll be here. We love you. We appreciate you. We're so thankful for you. Until next time, peace, love, and abundant blessings.
And whatsoever you do for anybody, remember to do it with all your heart.
Amen.
Things done by house are never done right. So we strive to do it well. Do the same.
There you have it. Take care.